The Green City Startup is an initiative of the City of Joburg, which encourages green entrepreneurs to develop ideas in building, energy, water, transport, and waste. This is the Green City Startup Show. This week, we visit Roodepoort to learn about the effects of alien plants. We meet a fish farmer who's combating food insecurity. We have a workshop with one of our expert mentors, and we chat with an entrepreneur from the Small Enterprise Finance Agency on the big interview. Avshen, Dumelang, hello and welcome to the Green City Startup Show. My name is Puna Silisho and I'm ready to share stories with you about all things green and entrepreneurial. Before we go any further, find us on Facebook, The Green City Startup, and on Twitter at TheGC Startup. We'd love to connect with you during and after the show. With more than 2 million Rand in prize money, these innovators will help make the city a greener place. Our show keeps you informed about the competition, their progress, and the green economy in general. Plants which originate in other countries and grow in South Africa can cause problems, like displacing our indigenous plants or using up more water. We visited Kuykendahl Nature Reserve in Roodepoort to learn more about these challenges and how they're being tackled.
Areas that makes Region C to be different from other parts is that you have Kuykendahl Nature Reserve, which has got fauna, flora, has got butterflies, has got all sorts of different species of insects. People usually go on weekends to look at this.
I'm part of an organization called the Friends of Kuykendahl, and our vision is to preserve this beautiful reserve and that it's available for the community to enjoy in peace and quiet, and it's ideal for environmental education and just enjoying it. The size of the Kuykendahl Nature Reserve is 128 hectares. We've got 4 coloured marked walks. We've got the Rocky Ridge Trail, which is the longest trail. We've got the Dassie Trail, where obviously you're going to see dassies. Then we've got the Struben Trail, which goes past the gold mine. And then we've got the Wetland Trail, that obviously goes through the wetlands, the blue.
My responsibility is to be a conservation specialist in the Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo. And we are managing our nature reserves and also our bird sanctuaries and reges throughout the area. The conservation challenges in a built-up area, in the urban area, obviously is more than in the open space, in the veld area or the nature areas out there in the open. Obviously you will have a lot of development pressure all around our nature areas. The other thing is alien plants. Due to the gardens, surrounding gardens, the bird life obviously, and then it ends up all in our nature areas. Especially our bird sanctuaries with the watercourses running through there. So you have a challenge to control alien plants much more.
This book is a book I made for the Extended Public Works Programme workers here in the Kuykendahl Nature Reserve. This is specifically on the wetland, but there is a lot of the many declared invading species in the reserve as such. But this is the wetland. This is a very bad one. This is a moth catcher, and I try also to have some specimens as well. Okay. The Friends of Kuykendahl is a non-profit organization. We consist of members of the community who are passionate about nature and like to share this beautiful reserve with the community at large, to come and enjoy this beautiful reserve. And it's ideal for environmental education and just enjoying it.
If you have green fingers, it's a good idea to learn how to identify the different types of alien plants. This way, you'll be able to keep an eye out for them and take the necessary steps before they become a problem. If you log onto our website, TheGreenCityStartup.co.za, you'll find more videos which can assist green-focused entrepreneurs with their initiatives. Next, Brandon has more helpful information for us in our hints and tips.
Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm here to give you some entrepreneurial hints and tips. Today I'll be talking about must-know tips from successful entrepreneurs. Firstly, love what you do. Lisa King, the owner of Brownie Points Inc., says that if you don't love what you do, it's going to be tough to be successful. This will also help your positivity and optimism. Without it, consider yourself done. Secondly, build a team that truly reflects your vision. Mike Mondolo, the president of Seabear, says that instead of hiring experienced people, rather hire people that demonstrate what your organization is all about. Thirdly, quickly learn from your mistakes. Now, there's no doubt that mistakes will occur, but it's how quickly you learn from them that matter. The key is to acknowledge the mistake at hand and act promptly, but accordingly, of course. Last but not least, never sacrifice quality. Larry Sweet, the founder and president of Save a Load Inc., says that the key to the success of any business is to establish a philosophy and have everyone in the business buy into it. Ensure that quality is a part of your philosophy. So in short, love what you do, build a team that reflects your vision, quickly learn from your mistakes, and never sacrifice quality. That's all for hints and tips. Remember, you can find them on our social media pages. On Facebook, it's The Green City Startup, and on Twitter, @TheGC Startup. Until next time, keep focused.
Helpful as always, our go-to guy Brandon has provided us with a variety of resources on our social media platforms to help keep you informed. Green entrepreneurs are usually driven by the need to improve our environment. We are dependent on natural resources for sustenance, and these entrepreneurs usually work to make sure our dependence can continue. David Fincham from the company Raidawi Fish Farms is no different. Through fish farming, he has found a way to combat food insecurity.
One thing you'll learn about talking to farmers, and it doesn't matter where they're farming or who they are, one thing that'll always come out with the farmers is his passion for farming. I've had a passion for farming tilapia for the last nearly 30 years. I went into the industry straight from school, went overseas to Scotland to study, and have now, over the last 3 decades, worked all over Africa, visiting some fantastic places, developing farms. Welcome to Raidawi Fish Farms in Muldersdrift, Johannesburg. This is our 40 by 10 meter greenhouse system where we house the farm in a box, ready to farm fish farming systems, and also where we produce our fingerlings for supply to our farmers. We've developed farm in a box so that we can get small scale farmers started and producing fish within their local communities. So the farm in a box system is a culmination of research and development and ingenuity over the last few years, and we've put that into a complete and ready to farm fish system that allows a small scale farmer to start with a 10,000 litre tilapia farming system, which will allow him to produce 500 fish a month, and therefore he can not only feed his own family but also supply limited quantities of fish into the community. The system is designed to operate pretty much on its own. It requires very simple and practical knowledge to be transferred in terms of operating the system, flushing out the filters, and obviously the feed tables and feeding the fish to get them to grow successfully. The species available for tilapia farming in South Africa are basically your Mozambique tilapia, Oreochromis mozambicus, which occurs in most of the rivers flowing to the east of South Africa from the Highveld, your Rooibos Kerper or your Tilapia rendali, and recently the importation of Oreochromis niloticus, which is the fish that comes from the Nile River, has been allowed into the country, and we've imported that stock because of the genetic selection that's occurred over the last 20 years. We're able to get fish now that have been selected for high growth rates, body shape, color, And by using this stock and farming them in our farm-in-a-box systems, our farmers have a competitive advantage in terms of the growth rates of these species. Tilapia fingerlings are stocked into the farm-in-a-box system at about 20 grams, and this would be about three months from hatching from egg. From a 20-gram fish, to get that fish to an edible plate-sized fish, which could be anything from 150 to 350 grams, would take between 4 and 6 months. We've seen in the market that a plate-sized fish of around 150 grams, which is a sizable portion of protein for a meal, is being accepted into the market. The benefits of running a fish farm on a small-scale farm is that you're able to produce very high levels of production off of a very small area of land, 400 square meters. We also recycle all of our water, or most of our water, and so your water use and also our energy use is very low. Each of our systems runs on less than 200 watts of power, which is the equivalent of running 2 light bulbs. The wastewater from these fish farming systems can be recovered 100% and put onto open land vegetable crops or greenhouse vegetable crops, or in certain circumstances even growing hydroponics. Maidawi Fish Farms are implementing a training and mentorship program where farmers would be allocated a single farm-in-a-box system on the farm, and they would run that tank when they're available either during the week or weekends, and run it through a full 4-month production cycle. Whilst going through that cycle, they'll get all the theoretical training, plus they would learn the hands-on and practical skills. The ultimate goal for Maidawi Fish Farms is 2 things. One is to develop the small-scale farmer and to get him involved in the industry at a very low level of investment and risk, and also just to be able to provide fish that are farmed locally to be sold and consumed within local communities.
Still to come, we receive expert training from Vincent Hoffman. We are updated on entrepreneurial matters in the news. And later we chat with Bongam Chunu from SIFA on the big interview. We have more in store for you right here on the Green City Startup, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Green City Startup Show. If you log onto our website, TheGreenCityStartup.co.za, you'll see that we provide information about entrepreneurial matters in and around the city of Joburg. As entrepreneurs, we should never stop learning, and why not learn from the experts? Vincent Hoffman from Inquisition, a company geared to helping businesses solve problems, gives us a workshop.
So the really interesting thing about doing what we would call experience mapping, or what I prefer to call just drawing on some paper, is to really get into the heads of the people that you're trying to serve and all of the relationships that they may have in the real world. So for instance, in my own world, I chose the story of me getting into my car in the morning to try and illustrate what my experience is like before the day gets off. And the reason I did that is to really get people to understand in that process just how many related entities there are. So when I get up in the morning, I don't just think about getting my keys, I think about what the day leads up to. I don't just get into my car, I think about what I'm going to listen to en route. There's so much deeper. And so once they start drawing out the experiences, they start to see all of those relationships, and they're able to see the points of leverage for their service or product. To design is to solve problems in the world, and I think all of you are problem solvers. Have you run out of stickies? You can do better than that. Every bit of intellectual property that we have as a business gets given away for free. You will get a Dropbox folder with everything. The minute you make friends with us, you get to learn from you and you get to learn from us as much as we are together, which is quite cool, I think. And here in this process, what we've done is we've isolated them. Rather than working as a team, we've got everyone working as an individual. And the reason why we do this is we see a lot of groupthink in the brainstorms that typically take place as teams. So this is the chance for them to sit quietly and get into their own heads in the solution space. And what I like about this process is often how profound it is to see how many ideas get generated. And as part of the next step is to really see them as a team then work together on themes, so drawing commonalities. Because what we often see is how many ideas overlap, and as they overlap, how much they improve. The last bit of it is also elimination, is to cut out the ideas that maybe are redundant from the start. And the commercial reason for doing this is, of course, is to cut out the fat. It's to not invest in the ideas that are bound to fail from the get-go.
To see more of our training videos, you can log on to TheGreenCityStartup.co.za. And remember, never stop learning. Funding is usually one of the biggest obstacles which startup companies face, but this should not discourage you as an entrepreneur. There are ways around this challenge. Our next guest, Bonga Mchunu from the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, tells us more about funding streams in South Africa. Next, the big interview.
Welcome to the big interview. Finding funds for your enterprise can be a daunting task, but here to help us is the head of direct lending in the northern region for the Small Enterprise Funding Agency, Bonga Mchunu. Hi Bonga, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So Bonga, for the viewers and myself, what is the Small Enterprise Funding Agency?
Okay, SEFA, a Small Enterprise Finance Agency, is an agency that was formed on the 1st of April 2012 through a merger of 3 entities, SAMAF, Kula Enterprise, and a small business section of IDC. It was formed basically to lend funds to small medium enterprises as defined by the National Small Business Act of 1996 as revised in 2003 in terms of Schedule 1. So those enterprises that qualify in terms of that will be funded by the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. It reports directly to the IDC, Industrial Developmental Corporation, and it also reports directly to the Small Business Ministry, which is headed by Lindiwe Zulu at the moment.
Wow. So what does an enterprise need to qualify for finance from SEFA?
Basically, any entity which is owned by a person who is a permanent resident of South Africa or headed by a person who is a South African, have a physical address and have a business plan, and they can show that they can repay the loan by providing us with some credit references, that person can be able to qualify for a loan with SEFA.
Wow. So what is the difference between a bank loan and a loan from SEFA then?
A loan from SEFA takes into account a few things more than what the bank would do. We look into the developmental impact that the person is bringing onto the game, all right? And also, we are not a security-based lender. So it means that somebody can qualify for a loan without security, without collateral. And at the same time, we are saying to the individual, if you have a bad credit history or you have a judgment, things like that, go and make an arrangement with your creditors and come back to us with a letter of arrangement. We can be able to fund you with that. And it's a big difference between us and the bank, because the bank would not be able to afford you that if your credit history is not okay.
Oh, wow. You mentioned 2 things which are very important. You said a business plan and the ability to prove that you can pay back the loan. So does this mean the loans are just for existing businesses, or can people come with ideas where they've never traded for a day before?
Yes, you're definitely right. It could be that you are having an existing business. You could be funded by CIFA, and it could be that you are a startup business. You have this idea, and you can show that this idea can be put into fruition at some stage. You can have cash flows running into the business. You could be funded by CIFA. So on both instances, you qualify to be funded by CIFA.
Well, so if I'm sitting at home and I'm hearing this and I have an idea or business and I want funding, where do I go if I want to be funded by CIFA?
Okay, at this point in time, you can be able to get into your internet, be able to type www.cifa.org.za. You can be able to go through the website and be able to be redirected where you can be able to download an application. However, if you don't have this, you can also get in touch with us through our offices. We are represented throughout South Africa in all provinces. All 9 provinces we have representation. In Gauteng in particular, we are split into 2 regions. It's North and South, in Brampark and in Pretoria. We are opening up an office in Riversands very soon. So we are represented everywhere. Wherever you see CEDA, you could also see us, and IDC, you could also see us. We are co-locating as far as possible with all those entities.
That is very helpful, and thank you very much for your time and being with us.
Thanks.
That was Bonga Mngunu, the head of direct lending at CIFA, and this is The Big Interview.
To succeed as an entrepreneur, it's good to stay up to date with entrepreneurial matters in and around the city of Joburg. Next, the news.
In the headlines today, General Electric unveils an innovation center in South Africa. Standard Bank makes new partnerships in the global startup community. And the South African Innovation Summit draws closer. Hello, I'm Nozipho Mpanza with this week's news. Digital industrial company General Electric opened the GE Innovation Center in Johannesburg. The facility extends over 2,700 square meters with the value of 500 million rands. The center is the company's 10th global hub and the first in Africa. Additionally, it is the first LEED certified General Electric building in sub-Saharan Africa, meaning that it is environmentally sustainable. Over 90% of the building was built, designed and executed by local businesses. The center will be home to General Electric's innovation across Africa within its key business sectors. General Electric is also the key technology provider for the new Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, due to open later this year. Standard Bank has partnered with Startup Grind, which is a global startup community powered by Google for entrepreneurs. This puts them in the lead of big banks getting involved in the local startup space. Standard Bank hopes to strengthen relationships between the bank and small businesses. Under the Form partnership, the companies will host monthly entrepreneurial events in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban. The format of the monthly meetups will begin with an hour-long networking session. This will be followed by a 45-minute fireside chat, where a successful entrepreneur will be interviewed to tell his or her business journey. This partnership comes 18 months after Standard Bank launched its incubator space. And in our last story, the South African Innovation Summit will take place from the 21st to the 24th of September in Johannesburg. The summit aims to provide the tools and knowledge that are necessary to help take innovations from idea to market. This year marks the 9th annual summit, which draws the attention of up to 8,500 innovators. The theme for the 2016 summit is Accelerate, Innovate, Ignite. In line with the theme, the conference hopes to develop great ideas which will have social, environmental, and financial impact in the markets. That's the news for this week. Remember to keep in touch with us through our social media pages or email us your green news at info@TheGreenCityStartup.co.za. From the news team, goodbye.
Next week, you don't want to miss out on our program. As the competition progresses, we continue to learn more about the role players in the green economy, and of course, we chat to an expert on the big interview. Before I go, we'd like to continue the conversation with you on social media. You can catch us on Facebook, The Green City Startup, and on Twitter @TheGC Startup. That's all from the GCS team and me, Buna Silisho. See you next week. Cheerio.